Hey there, fellow astrology enthusiasts. Welcome to VGS Astro. Today we are looking at Jupiter transit in the sign of Cancer during 2025. So Jupiter enters the sign of Cancer on 17th of October 2025, and the great Guru is going to enter his sign of exaltation. Let me tell you, I'm getting excited just thinking about this transit. We're going to see a preview of sorts that's about to come in 2026, but then Jupiter is not in deep exaltation as yet. Jupiter enters at 0 degrees. It's just nudging. It's in the beginning phases of entering the sign of Cancer. So here it only stays till November 10th and then turns retrograde on the 11th. By December 4th, Jupiter slips back into Gemini. Now, Jupiter entering Cancer, remember this is not the full exaltation we are going to see in 2026. But thinking about Jupiter going into Cancer really gives me the hope of seeing good times ahead. It's got to be one of the most anticipated welcome transits for the year 2025, especially because Jupiter will now be in the natural fourth aspecting the natural 10th Capricorn. So I'm guessing it's going to help those with job losses consolidate and land in a job and be more fortunate because it is, after all, in the Punarvasu Nakshatra. And what is Punarvasu Nakshatra? It is the nakshatra of try one more time to succeed. So it's got to help you bounce back. So take what comes to you now quickly because Jupiter is going to move back to Gemini before you even know it. So quickly go for whatever comes your way. And maybe next year when Jupiter comes back to Cancer, you will find a better job. So all I can say is make the most of this transit. Don't be disappointed if it doesn't work for you because of the short duration. But if you did perform the remedies, it should work for you now. So let's get this started. Begin with Aries ascendant. Aries, Jupiter enters your fourth house. The themes of the heart get activated. Themes of home, property, vehicles, mother, inner security now awaken. So you may feel an emotional lift. Plan for property, family healing, or even just a desire to redecorate your space. All is seen because of Jupiter entering the sign of Cancer. Some of you may also move to a bigger house. That is also possible. Now, Jupiter exalted in the fourth can bless land, education, and a mother's guidance. But remember, this Jupiter is just at 0 degrees. It's just nudging towards the sign of Cancer. So that means it shows the promise of comfort, moving into a bigger space, or redecoration, or renovation, or all of that. But it's not guaranteed as yet. Also, because fourth is connected with your home and Cancer being a water sign, it could now give you some expenses connected to, let's say, plumbing or even taking care of your mother or increase the level or something that you want to do to increase the level of your comfort, like buying a bed or furniture. Now, Jupiter's seventh aspect to Cancer in the 10th house ties this emotional security to your career. You are excited about the new job or the role that you're now playing, but you're not really sure whether to stick to the present job or just move on to something more lucrative, especially if it involves a lot of travel. But if you're already working somewhere, I would say don't make big career decisions at this time. Not at this time. Not until Jupiter fully immerses itself in the sign of Cancer in 2026. Because right now, Jupiter is still in Rashi Sandhi, and it could become a disaster. However, if you're looking for a new job, Jupiter could help you with that, but it could give you some out-of-pocket expenses while you land in that job. Jupiter, again, second part of the transit, retrograde. Jupiter stations retrograde in the same degree, again at 0 degrees, and it's looking back. So this is rare. It's like walking into a new house and then immediately stepping back out to inspect the foundation of that house. So what happens? Plans for property or family matters can come to a standstill. Career recognition may need proof. Something promised in October may come back for renegotiation. Land documents get rechecked. Maternal healing gets revisited. Something like that is bound to happen when Jupiter goes retrograde. So, what should you avoid doing when Jupiter goes retrograde? You should avoid rushing into property, overcommitting in career, believing emotional security can be bought overnight. All of this needs to be kept in mind. Also, Jupiter is a karaka for children. Remember that. So make sure Your children don't play or swim in the water without any supervision. After all, we're looking at Rashi Sandhi for Jupiter. As far as gains are concerned, this is going to give you a rare preview of what your stable foundation and career recognition will look like in the years ahead. You glimpse the architecture of your future home, emotional as well as literal. But remember, it's only going to get better next year when Jupiter progresses into the sign of Cancer. Okay, and that's all I've got for Aries ascendant or Aries moon sign. If you like what you heard, give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe below. And if you want to reach out to me for a consultation, please drop an email and I will check it out for you. Okay, let's move on to Taurus. How you doing? Let's look at what Jupiter holds for you during this transit. And Jupiter lights up your third house of courage, siblings, and communication. At first, your voice grows louder, but when Jupiter retrogrades, the question is, are you speaking from wisdom or just excitement? Jupiter enters your third house, giving a major boost to your courage, willpower, and communication when it goes progressive from October 17th to November 10th, 2025. You may feel inspired to start writing, teaching, podcasting, or even speak more confidently. You could even do public speaking. Now, relationship with siblings may feel supportive or expanded. Jupiter in the third brings strong communication and persuasive power. Remember, Jupiter, when it is exalted, it has the power to heal people through words. But this time, Jupiter is just nudging Cancer. It is in the beginning of Cancer. It's not exalted as yet. It's just getting into the groove. So you could now make bold promises to your siblings, which in retrospect you may not be able to fulfill. That's what we're looking at when Jupiter is in 0 degrees. Also, troubles are indicated during travel. So if you can avoid travels, please do so. But you could be very excited about going somewhere. That's possible. But again, Jupiter's seventh aspect is on Capricorn in the ninth, which ties your efforts to higher knowledge. So you may be tempted to plan foreign travel or higher education, but remember it's only the opening note, not the full symphony. So if you choose something in a hurry, even setting a date for an exam that's going to come up, that could actually backfire and you might have to go back and decide on another date. So that could happen with Jupiter in Cancer at 0 degrees. So when Jupiter goes retrograde, again, it's still going retrograde at 0 degree Cancer. Everything slows. Projects started in October, new blogs, courses, business pitches, everything will come full circle for a review. Short travels could get postponed. A new habit or skill that you want to learn may not happen because you rush too quickly. Let me tell you, that happens to me all the time. I feel like, I want to hit the gym and I do it for about 2 weeks or 3 weeks and then I fall sick and then, it's like I postpone my workout for another week or two and then it gets kind of tailed off. That could happen with Jupiter retrograde. You could actually be seeing something like that. You may have just gotten into some habit too quickly, but then you realize that you have other important things to take care of, sparing you with not much time, or maybe the time is not, in fact, ripe for such things. But when Jupiter actually goes back to Cancer in 2026, that could happen. So again, third house, hand-based efforts like writing or learning or even taking an exam could now get postponed when Jupiter goes retrograde. An invitation that you might now send your friends or something that you post on social media could now get revisited when Jupiter goes retrograde, and you might have to edit the contents and repost them. In November, you will realize that every bold word and promise you made would actually need review, you know? And let me tell you, that's not a setback, it's only a refinement, it's only a corrective phase. So by December 4th, Jupiter slips back into Gemini. Gemini, your second house. So the lessons remain. Courage and luck is not about taking the lead and being opportunistic, but also timing it that fits your schedule. So by the time Jupiter re-enters Cancer in 2026, your voice will be far more mature, powerful, and trustworthy. What you need to avoid during this transit is you need to avoid being overly confident in what you say. Don't be a smart ass. That's basically the point. So double check what you've written and don't commit to anything at this time. Rushing to travel or big career moves are possible, but don't take major leaps there. Unless, of course, you're looking for a new job, that could happen, but otherwise, don't do it. And that's all for Taurus. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe below. If you like what you heard, give it a thumbs up and share this with your friends and family. If you need a personalized reading of your chart, then drop an email. I'll check it out. Next up, we've got Gemini Ascendants or Gemini Moon sign. Let's look at Gemini. Gemini, howdy, and let's see what Jupiter holds for you during its transit in the sign of Cancer. Jupiter enters your second house of family, speech, wealth, and values. So this is where exalted Jupiter shows its nourishing side. But since he starts at 0 degrees, remember 0 degrees is like he's just nudging Cancer. He's not there yet. So there's a sense of cautious beginnings. You might feel the urge to expand your finances, grow your family bonds, or speak with more authority. Yet in October, the results can feel half baked, like promises are in the air, but not yet grounded. But still, you will put in the necessary effort to bring harmony within the family, including that of your in laws, because of Jupiter's aspect on the eighth house. And if there's been a rift in the family, there's a chance of patching up now, but then you could be rushing in too quickly without looking at the broader picture or what it means for you. Also, Jupiter can make you very optimistic about new diet plans, keto or something very novel. And then you begin with the diet in the hopes of reducing a lot of calories. And in fact, you might actually uh, get favorable results out of Jupiter. When Jupiter goes retrograde from November 11th, the focus shifts inward. You start thinking, is this worth the pain? Is this diet even sustainable? And then you make a course correction. So, in my opinion, it's okay to course correct, to explore a different diet, and then say, okay, I'm now going to change the way I'm eating things, and then I'm going to review what I've been eating. Maybe this diet is not suitable. Let me let me revisit that and see how I can make some corrections. So that's what's happening with Jupiter retrograde. Also, Jupiter in second can make you very money minded, like eyeing for inheritance because Jupiter has its aspect on the eighth house. But right after it goes retrograde, Jupiter is going to start thinking, am I this opportunistic person? Is that what I want to be seen as by my in laws or by my family or by my forefathers? That sort of things happen, and then you course correct one more time. Same goes for intimacy and relationships in life. Jupiter's ninth aspect is on Pisces. Now, this is very powerful. Saturn sits here making you grind steadily in your career. Jupiter gives Saturn some guidance, suggesting mentors or a sense of direction could appear to balance the weight of responsibility. It's like Saturn makes you carry bricks, but Jupiter reminds you why you're building that wall. So for Geminis, we're looking at themes like family karma opening up, inheritance, reconnecting with family, ancestral wealth, or teachings from elders. Retrograde is all about rethinking security, rethinking about self-worth, your family values, financial ethics, and divine guidance is also going to come to you in your career, so get ready for that. By the time Jupiter finishes his retrograde in early December, you're going to exit with a clear sense of what's truly valuable. It's not just numbers in the bank, right? It's about integrity. It's about how you earn things and how you speak and how your image is seen by other people. And that's all I've got for Gemini. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe below. If you like what you heard, give it a thumbs up and share this with your friends and family. If you need a personalized reading of your chart, then drop an email. I'll be happy to look into it and give my 2 pence. Okay? And next up, we've got Cancer Ascendants or Cancer Moon sign. Hey there, Cancer. Jupiter enters your first house in October 17, 2025. So that means the self, the body, the way you see life is going to change. At first, this feels like a blessing. Confidence rises, your aura expands, and people notice your wisdom. You may feel like life is turning in your favor. that new beginnings are calling for you. You know, there's a lot of excitement, but Jupiter, remember, is only at 0 degrees in Cancer, not yet fully exalted. This is the arrival stage of Jupiter. Optimism can become overconfidence, flamboyance, or preaching without grounding. So you need to avoid expecting others to follow your lead just because you know better. You know, that could happen. You feel like you're entitled to that respect just because you know something more than other people do. Health wise, indulgence in food or comfort may creep in. You could put on some weight at this time, but what you gain from this transit is becoming more visible to the crowd, becoming more visible to other people, gaining a sense of fresh identity. And to a great extent, this can also give you a lot of fame. But the problem is that you could now overcommit or overpromise something to other people, which you may not be able to deliver. So be very careful about what you state and how you commit with people. The retrograde makes you revisit self-perception when it goes retrograde from November 11th to December 4th, 2025. So that time your confidence could take a dip, or you may withdraw from the spotlight to think about how you can manage the fame. And during retrograde, it's quite possible that you go through some amount of self-doubt, inconsistency in image, frustration that things slow down just when they began, and now you have to worry about other pending issues. And let me tell you, that's just saying something, right? You're going to feel a bit disappointed for rushing in when Jupiter goes back to Gemini, but it's only a pause, not something permanent. So don't worry. The name and fame you get it is something that's going to reach a crescendo when Jupiter comes back in 2026 in the sign of Cancer and gets exalted in the sign of Cancer. Now, Jupiter also aspects Capricorn, the seventh house. So there could be overcommitting or overpromising in marriage or to your business partner, and that can bring some problems initially, but you will learn to manage the problem and put it on hold till you come back home or till you sort things out uh, on a very leisure basis. And if you're single, you could say yes to someone in a hurry and then have second thoughts, or it may so happen that the time is not ripe for the wedding yet to take place and things get postponed. But yeah, you might see someone special during this time, Cancer, and watch out for that time when Jupiter enters the sign of Cancer. So by the time Jupiter steps back, you will exit with a revised self-image, less flamboyancy, more authenticity. So the carry forward gift is an inner campus, knowing that leadership does not mean showmanship, you know, but it's about embodying that wisdom quietly without committing or without making promises, bold promises that you cannot deliver. And when Jupiter returns in 2026, you'll be ready to shine without the wobble of flamboyancy. So, in short, for Cancer ascendants or Cancer moon sign, Jupiter's brief entry is a self test. Shadow is inflated self importance. Gain is about true confidence rooted in humility. So, if you're humble, you could actually be uh, benefiting out of this transit even as Jupiter enters the sign of Cancer at 0 degrees. That's all for Cancer. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe below. If you like what you heard, give it a thumbs up and share this with your friends and family. If you need a personalized reading, then drop an email. I'll be happy to look into it and give my 2 pence. Okay? Now let's look at Leo ascendants or Leo moon sign. All right, dear Leos, let's look at what Jupiter holds for you. Jupiter enters your 12th house. The 12th house is the house of spirituality, losses, foreign lands, and also the subconscious mind. So at first, you may feel a sudden urge to disconnect from the outer world. Travel, isolation, or spiritual pursuits may call you. Expenses may rise, sometimes in generous ways. Maybe you could end up doing a lot of charity or helping other people. But again, Jupiter at 0 degree Cancer is not exalted. It's barely there in Cancer. Yet, you could now experience certain expenses, which is connected to travel or going someplace far away. It could feel very liberating as Jupiter enters the sign, but also since it is in Rashi Sandhi, it can feel a bit disorienting, especially if you are in the late 70s or 80s. You could now move away from your children to someplace and for once be happy that you moved out to enjoy some me time doing whatever it is that you like, especially if your children are old enough to manage things by themselves. So it indicates a period of rest and relaxation. There could be blessings from spiritual practice, hidden protection, and also your karmic debts gets quietly cleared behind the scenes as Jupiter enters the 12th house. And when it goes retrograde from November 11th to December 4th, 2025, when Jupiter turns back, you're probably going to feel that the retrograde forces you to kind of redefine your relationship with solitude and surrender. Again, you're looking for a way to make money to help yourself, or maybe you're looking for a way to clear the debt of your children or passing on the wealth to your family. All of that is possible. All of those themes getting activated during retrograde is, in a way, a positive sign. But again, Jupiter, when it goes retro in the 12th, looks at the 11th, means it's trying to gear up for some auspicious expense that it plans for the next year when Jupiter enters the Cancer sign, when it re-enters Cancer in 2026. So we're looking at some wealth consolidation or savings that's now happening as a preparation for the next year. But the major part of this transit would be about learning to give without draining yourself. Because what's the point if you're ultimately getting drained of wealth, of energy, and not having enough for your own self or for your own security? Even though you may not care about it right away, Saturn sitting in the eighth house, aspecting your second house, is definitely going to make you ask those questions sooner or later. And Jupiter's seventh aspect now is on Capricorn sign, which happens to be your sixth house. So Jupiter's wisdom meets the struggles of work, health, service. At first, conflicts or debts may arise, but the gain is you're guided to solve problems with maturity and not aggression, not the usual Leo self. But Jupiter 12th has a way to find solutions to problems related to the sixth, so that's a very good thing. Now, ninth aspect is on Pisces, where Saturn is already transiting there. It's already going retrograde. So Jupiter blesses Saturn in the eighth house. Saturn is already digging for hidden truths, and now the gains can come through breakthroughs and understanding about your future, the unknown future, because Jupiter in the 12th aspect in the 8th has a tendency to protect you from sudden events and also any kind of health issue that you might now foresee and take necessary steps. And since Jupiter owns the sign of Pisces, aspecting his own sign, means there's going to be a strengthening of your longevity even while Saturn is already there making you work really hard to ensure you live a long life. So for those who are going through Saturn return in the sign of Pisces, Jupiter's aspect comes as a blessing in case you're facing a tough time, especially due to some life and death situation, which can now find a cure and you could come out of it stronger than ever. So by the time Jupiter retreats fully, you'll exit this phase with a stronger understanding of boundaries, where to give, where to hold back, that sort of thing. And also how to serve without self-destruction. That is far more important, guys. And know that the solitude is a tool, not an escape. That is also a theme that you're going to have to deal with, because Jupiter's shadow themes of entering the sign of Cancer is escaping from reality to have a good time. That is possible. Also, Jupiter 12th house means there's some auspicious expenses coming your way, and that is why Jupiter is now gearing up for wealth consolidation, looking back at Gemini. All right, these are the themes for Leos, and that's all I've got. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. Also share this video with your friends and family. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe below. Next up, we've got Virgo Ascendant or Virgo Moon sign. All right, for Virgo Ascendants or Virgo Moon sign, let's look at what Jupiter holds for you when it enters the sign of Cancer. Now, Jupiter enters the sign of Cancer on 17th of October 2025, and Jupiter rules your fourth house as well as your seventh house, and it enters the sign of Cancer in the 11th house, which happens to be your house of gains. your house of friendship, networks, and desires. So when Jupiter goes here, it immediately promises expansion. Gains can now come through real estate, from property dealings, from vehicles, from family roots. We're also looking at gains from partnership, from collaboration, from marriage. So basically, comfort goes into the 11th house. So we're looking at comfortable gains during this time. We're looking at a good deal of ease in doing business. Some of you may even start something fresh or expand your present business into something bigger, or at least start planning for it. That could happen because we're still in the first phase of Jupiter's transit. When Jupiter actually goes into the sign of Cancer and gets exalted, that's when we are going to really feel the effect of Jupiter transit. But at 0 degree Cancer, though Jupiter is not yet fully exalted, you could still feel much of the positive effects of Jupiter. But then again, 0 degrees means that there could be big promises with empty foundation or fragile foundation, which does not give you a way to make leaps from where you're standing, which means you can't really make a leap to expand your business. You could get an idea on how to go about it, but maybe you just may not have the time to do it as of now, but you get the idea. And that in itself is a blessing because we're looking at new openings for wealth, influential connections coming in, and also support through your spouse or partner. But the shadow side of this transit is that you could be chasing gains too quickly, you could be over trusting your friends or networks and getting caught in unrealistic desires. But nonetheless, with Jupiter here, prosperity can come through property dealings. It can come through mother as well, because mother is seen from the fourth house. So mother can also bring you wealth or introduce you to influential people and help you in expanding your business. But remember, we're still looking at Jupiter Gandanta. So don't take big steps, or rather, don't make big promises that you cannot keep up with. 11th house also brings association with a lot of good people, and this time it could be people who are in the field of business. But for some reason, you may just not feel ready for all of that as yet. So if you're going to expand your business, make sure that you don't end up losing money. Losses are also seen through overexpansion of network or misplaced faith in friends. So be very cautious. For those who are working in large organizations, because 11th house is all about large organizations as well, right? So this transit can be very promising in terms of work, in terms of making some extra income and your own growth alongside your company. But remember not to make big promises just because you feel this could be a one-time opportunity and you need to cash in on that money. And that could happen. And that could happen. All I would say is, when you get the kind of demand for work with a great pay package, especially if you're moving into a different company, if you get that kind of demand for a great pay package, I would say think twice before taking it. If you're not ready for that kind of work, then don't take it up. Your daily routines could become very stressful. But then, still, with Jupiter in the 11th house being the seventh lord, can give you some kind of a relief through other people. They could now give you some kind of help that eases the situation. But still, I would say this is a phase of consolidation for the year ahead when Jupiter finally becomes exalted in Cancer in 2026. So this is more like a preview of what you could be handling next year, but not really the right time for you to actually expand your business. Now, when Jupiter goes retrograde, and that's going to happen from November 11th to December 4th, 2025. And when it goes retrograde, Jupiter is going to question you about your gains and whether it is ethical and sustainable. So friendships at that time is going to get tested. Your desires can actually get blocked, or you could see some slowdown in your income. But again, retrograde is the correction phase. It forces you to distinguish between what is temporary and what is lasting gain. And also, when Jupiter retrogrades and slips back into the sign of Gemini, you can think of career as a major way to step up your wealth. even if it means in small increments. But you're looking at career to help boost your income. That is also possible when Jupiter goes retrograde and slips back into the sign of Gemini. Major part of the retrograde process is to refine or even redefine some of your long-term goals, setting the stage for stable prosperity because of its aspect on the fifth house. Fifth house aspect gives you blessings, especially with regards to prosperity, with regards to your children, your creative endeavors, and also romance, which means there could be gains through wise decisions in education or creative projects. But the shadow, however, is over expectations from love or children, which could make you rethink about your priorities at present. Jupiter's ninth aspect is on the sign of Pisces, which happens to be your seventh house. So, direct blessing to marriage and partnership. So, with Saturn already there, Jupiter helps stabilize strained bonds. But Jupiter can also give your spouse an idealized expectation because of this aspect. It's a benefic aspect, no doubt, but then it makes him or her more idealistic about what they expect from the relationship. But definitely, Jupiter coming here or aspecting is going to help you gain stability in your relationship when Saturn is actually struggling for that stability. So that could happen, but then again, you would still have to have a defined role in that relationship because Jupiter idealizes your spouse's thought process. So he or she could be thinking about, I need to be doing this as a man and you need to be doing this as a woman in marriage, like being the breadwinner or taking care of the family's demand. That is quite possible with Jupiter's aspect on the seventh house. Now, by the time Jupiter leaves, December 4th, 2025, when it leaves, you would most likely have a very clear sense of who your true friends are, and which desires are actually worth pursuing in the coming months. So, in short, Virgos, Jupiter as the fourth and seventh lord in the 11th, first opens the gates of prosperity and friendships, and then it's going to test them right after it goes retrograde. So, shadow side, you could see false allies or inflated desires, but the gain is you could actually gain genuine network or a stable long-term prosperity. All right, and that's all I've got for Virgos. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe below. Also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you need a consultation, please drop an email. Next up, we've got Libra ascendants or Libra moon sign. Librans, let's look at what Jupiter has in store for you when it enters the sign of Cancer. So for Librans, when Jupiter goes into the sign of Cancer on 17th of October 2025, Jupiter goes into your 10th house. 10th house, what is 10th house? 10th house is about career, it is about authority, it is about public image. So at first, this is going to feel like a big lift. There's a big lift coming to you in terms of recognition, in terms of opportunities at work. Bosses start noticing you. And also there could be an expansion in your professional field. But remember, Jupiter is at 0 degrees. So that means Jupiter is not yet exalted. He is just nudging the sign of Cancer. He's just entering the sign of Cancer. So that means the results are like a big spotlight without a solid script. The potential is huge, but Jupiter 10th house, 0 degrees means that it is not yet settled. It is very unstable. The shadow side of this transit, it means that there could be overconfidence at work. There could be a lot of promising that you could deliver this, that you could deliver that, but you might fall short of that. There could be conflicts with authority due to inflated ego. That is possible. You know why? Because 10th house is the house where Sun does exceptionally well. Sun is good for 10th house, but Jupiter could actually expand that uh, ego in the 10th house, and you could actually end up facing some trouble or conflict with authority figures at this time. With Jupiter as the third lord as well as sixth lord, this can bring good opportunities if you are in the field of
communication, if you're in the field of writing, teaching field, or even finance. But most importantly, what I see is there could be a time during this transit where you might take center stage to teach people or to give a speech or a presentation, and all eyes could be on you. But then again, sixth lord in the 10th house means that there could be some challenging times ahead for Librans. There's too many things to do, and you may have very little time for you to, clear up that work. So a lot of obstacles, but you will be expected to rise to the occasion, and that's where the problem lies, right? Because you probably don't have that much time. Success is seen for those in service industries dealing with legal issues or even health related field. But on the whole, I see it more challenging than anything. Also, this is a time where there could be a change in the chair of your boss. Maybe you're getting a new boss. A new leader is about to come and take over. And there's going to be so much to learn from this person. He or she is going to be very supportive to you, and you're going to see that. Now, if you're working in a government setup, in a government organization, there could be blessings by Jupiter. On the other side, your enemies could be very authoritative and very knowledgeable, and they could give you some difficult time, like trying to block your progress or be an obstacle in gaining that recognition. And they just want to create problems. And that is where Jupiter becomes a functional malefic for you. So but then don't worry about it because you will come out of that problem without any scratch because Saturn is in your sixth house. And Saturn sixth house means he's your Yoga Karaka, and that's fantastic for vanquishing enemies. Now, Jupiter, when it goes retrograde, he's going to make you reevaluate your career path. Your promotions could come to a stall. Maybe your bosses could retract from his promise, or your own ambition may feel somewhat tested during that time. That's the phase where you correct things for the better, which also means your previous efforts at your work will require revisiting. So you would have to do probably the same thing again and again to get it right or get the acceptance of your bosses. So a lot of work during retrograde phase, and your path, your direction kind of changes. Legal issues at work may open up. So if you've been battling one, then get ready to reopen that problem and put an end to it during retrograde phase. Again, the shadow side of this transit is frustration in terms of growth at work. There could be disputes with colleagues, public image could go under review. But the gain side of this transit is that you could feel refined about what you truly want from your work, what you truly want from your career. Second chances and opportunities you thought were gone would now come to you. So there's basically a deeper understanding of your duty and responsibility because Jupiter is, after all, the Karaka for Dharma. Now, Jupiter also aspects your fourth house through his seventh aspect. So direct focus on home, property, and mother. There could be some tension between career and home life during that time. But then you would also see stability in real estate, stability for your mother. And also, if you use your knowledge wisely, you could now turn things around and see domestic peace blossoming at this time. Now, ninth aspect is on the sign of Pisces, which happens to be your sixth house. So, sixth lord aspecting sixth. What does that mean? It makes the sixth house very strong, right? But the good thing is that Jupiter's aspect on Saturn only make things easier for you than make it difficult. You thought it's a double whammy. What am I going to do, right? No. Jupiter's aspect, though strengthens the enemies, it just makes the job easier for Saturn to topple the enemies as well because new information and renewed courage is going to help Saturn. New information now comes through Jupiter. And that's going to help Saturn, your Yoga Karaka, to double down on the issue. So Saturn, because of Jupiter's aspect, brings relief to debt, brings relief to illness or service-related stress. Jupiter offers ethical solutions to heavy struggles. But remember, when Saturn is fighting, the victory will come only if you work patiently towards that problem instead of rushing through things. If you rush through things, things could actually get messed up. The only thing I would ask Librans would be not to over rely on luck in defeating enemies. Expecting information to come is fine, but don't expect that luck would turn things around. That may not happen. By the time Jupiter goes back, by the time Jupiter retreats, you leave with clear priorities about career. Your temporary fame or sudden offers could fade, but what remains is you now have a clear sense of purpose about what you need from your work, from your career. And that's all I've got for Librans. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe below. Also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And also, if you need a consultation, do drop an email. And let's move on to the next sign, which is Scorpio. All right, Scorpios, let's look at what Jupiter transit holds for you as it enters the sign of Cancer on 17th of October 2025. Now, Jupiter is an auspicious planet for you. Why? Because it rules the it rules the second house as well as your fifth house. And it is now moving into the ninth house. Ninth house is the house of fortune. It is the house of higher wisdom. It is the house of your father. And one Trikona Lord going into another Trikona means it is a Raj Yoga. Jupiter brings you Raj Yoga. He's bringing you luck. He's bringing you wisdom. And he's bringing the blessings of your gurus, the blessings of your father and your forefathers. You could now see financial stability because Jupiter is your second lord. You could also see joy from children because Jupiter is your fifth lord. And Jupiter in the ninth gives guidance through your father. But the shadow side of this transit is Jupiter is at 0 degrees in Cancer. So Jupiter's energy is unsteady. It's not exalted as yet. So sudden overconfidence in religion or being dogmatic is quite a theme when Jupiter goes into the sign of Cancer in the ninth house, because after all, it is the Karaka for Dharma, and the sign of exaltation. It's overly optimistic about what righteousness is, and that could be one of the problems with Jupiter in the ninth. Early weeks could feel like chasing blessings without being practical as well, because Jupiter can give you an optimistic vibe when actually fifth house Saturn is telling you to be as practical as possible when it comes to manifesting the good things in your life. But the positive theme of this transit is that we are seeing strong dharmic protection, spiritual teachers coming into your life. Your family wealth is going to increase now. If your father is a granddad, then expect a lot of support from your children coming into their life, especially if you're old and ailing. They come as a big relief. And also, if you are a student, because of Jupiter's aspect on the sign of Pisces, you could now be staring at a potential education opportunity that feels very promising, and you're going to be very optimistic about that, especially if you've been facing a break in education or even marriage. This is the time where you gain the support of your father. You could see his health improve at this time. Dharmic connections are coming through family. Blessings also come to your children. You almost become like a child who wants to know about karma, about dharma, and you become this very inquisitive child as Jupiter enters Cancer. Life back at home, again, could be very peaceful during Jupiter's transit. Very prosperous during this time because of its aspect on the sign of Pisces. Jupiter's transit can also open up travel opportunities for you, dharmic connections coming through family. But when Jupiter turns retrograde on November 11th, there could be a planned travel that gets postponed. Your father related responsibilities can also take front seat. You could get an opportunity to backtrack and unlearn some of the dogmatic ideas that you thought were right. And Jupiter retrograde is going to make you learn everything from scratch, learn things the right way. So Jupiter retrograde is nothing really to worry about. It's only a phase of correction. Past life karmas linked to family, wealth, and children are going to resurface. Old teachings or unfinished spiritual practices are going to call you back. Ninth house is about father, so father related debt may demand repayment. If your father has a debt that needs to be repaid, that might crop up during this time. Maybe even a sudden health issue of your father may demand your attention. But rest assured, you will give your very best in solving the problem or crisis with a good dasha or a good antardasha. things should work in your favor and that of your father. Also, retrograde means there's a second chance in education, but then it could also indicate a short temporary break from education in order to attend to some pressing matters, maybe connected to family, maybe connected to inheritance, and that needs your attention at that moment. So off you go, and we're looking at getting back to university again later next year. Also, Jupiter aspects your third house through his seventh aspect. That means it's going to expand your courage, it's going to expand the support through your siblings. New communication channels are going to open up for you in order for you to make quick progress in any field that you wish to pursue. Definitive success in writing, in communication, in networking, and also in short distance journeys. Now, ninth aspect is on the sign of Pisces. Enormous blessings to children in creative endeavors, in education, especially bringing some relief to stagnation because of Saturn's presence now in the fifth house. Fifth house is connected to children, which means Jupiter's aspect on the fifth house gives you newfound optimism. If you've been trying for a child and it's not been working out, now is the time for you to see some relief on this front. Divine grace in progeny is a definitive possibility because of Jupiter's exalted state. Not yet exalted, but he's in the sign of Cancer. So when he's aspecting the sign of Pisces, he's definitely strengthening the fifth house. This is the time where actually Jupiter casts aspect on the fifth house and says, this is the place where I've been missing out for a long time. Now is the right time for me to concentrate on this. Devaguru's aspect on the fifth house also will keep things steady if you are someone who is pregnant and carrying. Great times ahead for Scorpios. There's so much for you to learn during this transit. A lot of journeys are also going to open up when Jupiter becomes exalted next year. So keep looking and keep your fingers crossed. This is going to be an amazing transit for you. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe below. If you like what you heard, give it a thumbs up. Share this with your friends and family. If you need a consultation, do drop an email. Next up, Sagittarius Ascendant or Sagittarius moon sign. Hey there, Sagittarius. Let's look at what Jupiter has in store for you when he enters the sign of Cancer on 17th of October 2025. Now, Jupiter rules your Lagna as well as your fourth house and moves into your eighth house. What is the eighth house? The eighth house is the place of sudden changes. It is the place of inheritance, secrets, hidden wealth, and also transformation. So at first, from 17th October 2025 to November 10th, 2025, Jupiter moves directly at 0 degree Cancer. This is a strange movement because Cancer, although is exaltation land for Jupiter, it's just not there yet, because it is at 0 degrees. Think of an honored guest who just arrived but is still standing in the doorway. The respect is there, but the comfort is not there because the person is not comfortable moving into the house. So, what happens? How does that translate for you? You may suddenly feel like your life is changing direction without any clarity. And for some, this could actually indicate there could be a sudden shift in finance, sudden news of inheritance, maybe a change in joint assets, maybe even a chance to move someplace else. And trust me, Jupiter could actually make you very optimistic about moving places. But on second thought, since it's a very short transit, Jupiter may not have the time to actually get going. And for others, Jupiter in the eighth can actually give you a spiritual push, an urge to study astrology, an urge to study Tantra or hidden sciences. And for a few, it can feel like a personal rebirth as well because eighth house is all about transformation. So your identity is now breaking apart so it can rebuild stronger. And just because it is the eighth house, the blessings don't come in a soft way, even though it is Jupiter. They come through intensity. So the shadow side of this transit is that you could now be overthinking, there could be fear of loss, there could be clinging to control when actually nobody knows which way life is going to go when there's a planet in the eighth house. It's like life is asking you to surrender, but you're actually now wanting control. But then when Jupiter is in the eighth house, it indicates a sense of hidden strength. It gives you a strong resilience. It can also give you access to blessings you did not even know were waiting for you. And now comes the twist. From November 11th to December 4th, 2025, Jupiter turns retrograde in Cancer. Now, this is where the story flips. Retrograde means looking back. He's looking back at the same house as well as the previous house. So that means you could now revisit old family matters, old property issues, or even past wounds connected to your mother or inner peace. Eighth house is the warehouse of your karmic debt. And with Jupiter retrograde, debts connected to family wealth, mother, or past spiritual practice could now come to the surface. You might actually feel like destiny is blocking your progress. There could be a lot of stagnation when Jupiter goes retrograde in the eighth house. But in reality, what Jupiter is doing is it's actually forcing you to clean up the old before the new blessings can arrive. Eighth house is getting cleaned up by Jupiter. Bad thing about this transit is that you're gonna have to do the dirty work and suck up the sudden issues that crop up. But again, the good thing, you're finally clearing up the karma, burning that karma, and making way for a better life next year. Now, Jupiter also aspects the second house of wealth, family, speech. So your values could now feel tested. There could be some issue with your family. There could be some problems to your possessions. And especially now because you're now seeing a chance and opportunity to move places, be very careful when you're shifting places. There could be some kind of a problem that Jupiter now gives you to your possessions. There could be some item or some electronic thing that break or fall apart while shifting your place, while shifting your house. Ninth aspect is on the sign of Pisces, and Jupiter definitely blesses your home. It means that you could now be moving to a bigger home. It is also shaking your emotional foundation because you're now leaving that place and moving someplace else. So all your emotions connected to that place till date is now going to come to the surface, especially when it goes retrograde. But when Jupiter finally leaves Cancer on December 4th, 2025, you'll feel like you've gone through a tunnel. Shaken maybe, but also you could feel reborn. You're going to carry forward an inner strength, a new spiritual awareness, the realization that true fortune is not just about wealth or property, it's about the ability to face difficult situations without any fear. So what does that mean? That means Jupiter in the 8th is like a miracle waiting to help you and turn things around. Okay, and that's all I've got for Sagittarius. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe below. Also, if you need a consultation, drop an email. And please share this video with your friends and family. Next up, we've got Capricorn Ascendants or Capricorn Moon sign. Capricorn, let's look at what Jupiter has in store for you when it enters the sign of Cancer on 17th of October 2025. Now, Capricorn, Jupiter owns your 12th house as well as your third house, and he's going into your seventh house. What is seventh house? Seventh house is the house of partnership, it is the house of marriage, it is the house of contracts and public dealings. So from October 17, 2025 to November 10, 2025, Jupiter moves directly into Cancer at 0 degrees. Cancer is Jupiter's exaltation sign, but at 0 degrees, Jupiter has not yet settled in that sign. Now think of a wise counselor entering a king's court, you know, but he's not seated. He's got a lot of potential, but he's not yet anchored. He's not yet there. And in the same way, you may suddenly feel expansion in partnership. There could be a new proposal, fresh collaborations, maybe a shift in your marriage, old ones breaking up, new ones coming in, or even in the way it feels to be around your partner. That could be now changing. There's hope in the air, but it comes with a lot of doubt because it could look too good to be true. Too many promises. And definitely there could be some excitement around this transit, but it's not something you have tested, and that's plenty of reason for you to speculate whether this marriage or whether this proposal or the collaboration is going to actually work for you. And then comes the great pause, the pause where Jupiter goes retrograde. That's when old stories are going to resurface.
you're going to learn something new about your partner. And that relationship may now come for closure. Retrograde Jupiter in the seventh could also force you to face the real nature of give and take in partnership. You could now face the real nature of compromising in a partnership. So the shadow of this transit is that there could be dependency, misplaced faith, there could be over idealizing other people. Gain side of this transit is that you're going to learn who genuinely walks beside you and who actually drains your strength. Now Jupiter also aspects the first house through its seventh aspect. And that means he's directly aspecting your identity, giving you more confidence. Or should I say overconfidence? He's also redefining how you see other people or how other people see you. Yourself and your partner, they're like a mirror, and we're looking at a lot of reflective thoughts between the both of you. Ninth aspect is on the sign of Pisces. Jupiter now blesses communication, he blesses writing, he blesses courage. Siblings can now play a very active role during this phase, especially in helping you realize your efforts. And Jupiter also is your 12th lord going into the 7th house, which means there could be some foreign connections coming towards you right now. And as third lord, it can show some kind of a temporary alliance that tests your courage and communication. Some of these relationships that you have with people may feel like they're fated to happen, but it's a lesson in learning for you for the future. Every experience that we have in life always has a meaning beyond what we can see right now in the present. So these are lessons that you take to the future. And when Jupiter finally exits Cancer on December 4th, 2025, you'll feel like your partnerships have been tested in fire. Some bonds may now actually become stronger with newfound clarity, but there could be other relationships in your life now that could fade away. But either way, you'll be left with relationships that are true to you, that are genuine, that you actually feel like being around these people. All right, and that's all I've got for Capricorns. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe below. If you need a consultation, do drop an email, share this with your friends and family. And next up, we've got Aquarius Ascendants or Aquarius Moon sign. All right, for Aquarius Ascendants, this transit is going to feel like a training ground for you for the next year. What do you learn in training? You learn to tackle problems, to jump over hurdles and defeat competition. And that's exactly what this is going to feel like. Jupiter now steps into your sixth house, the battlefield of life where enemies, debts, health, and daily struggles reside. Jupiter rules your second house as well as your 11th house. These are powerful houses of prosperity. Now Jupiter enters Cancer, your sixth house of service, obstacles, litigation, and healing. So at first glance, it seems uncomfortable. You may be thinking, how can a planet of wisdom thrive in a house of struggle? But this is where exalted Jupiter shows its true strength, turning obstacles into stepping stones. Being the second lord as well as the 11th lord, a lot of wealth is going to come from dealing with conflict on a daily basis, mastering challenges. Very good position for doctors, very good position for lawyers, or people who generally make money dealing with conflict. So from October 17, 2025 to November 10, 2025, Jupiter moves directly into Cancer at 0 degrees. So this is a delicate point. Exaltation belongs here, but 0 degrees means the planet has not yet found its foot in the ground. It's like a healer entering the hospital, but not yet in the operating room. This is a very delicate scenario. So you may now suddenly feel the weight of responsibilities, of health routines, or even workplace battles. But alongside the strain, Jupiter begins to open the doors for you in terms of restructuring your debt. Legal matters may now find relief. Jupiter in the sixth house means enemies are going to lose their grip. But then comes the retrograde phase. Retrograde phase, Jupiter is now looking back from November 11th to December 4th. That means old debts may return for repayment during the retrograde phase. Your health habits you thought were resolved may now need your attention. Unresolved rivalries could reappear. So, in a way, retrograde Jupiter in the sixth is all about finishing old karmas. The shadow of this transit is that there could be overconfidence, taking on too much, expecting quick results, or ignoring small issues that demand a lot of steady effort. But the gain of this transit is that you could now gain mastery over the challenges that you face. You could learn how to be patient. You could learn discipline and how to win through wisdom rather than force. Jupiter is a great negotiator in the sixth house. We're looking at some kind of a compromise kind of situation instead of taking the legal route, instead of solving problems in a court of law. There's some kind of a compromise or a mutual agreement where both the parties drop the charges. Now, Jupiter, through its seventh aspect, is now looking at the 12th house, which means it's bringing the focus on your expenses. Jupiter is the planet of wisdom, so it's going to help you to manage your losses carefully. Some of you may even go abroad because of its aspect on the 12th house. And that's a reason for you to celebrate because Jupiter being the 12th second lord, looking at the 12th house means that there's money coming from foreign sources. Ninth aspect is on Pisces, second house. So Jupiter blesses your wealth, your family, your speech. But then when it goes retrograde, it's going to cause some delay in material gains, or there could be some problems in the family that now needs your attention for solving that problem. And when Jupiter finally exits Cancer on December 4th, 2025, you're gonna feel a lot more stronger about negotiating with people and winning battles on a daily basis. Remember, this is just a preview during 2025 when it actually re-enters the sign of Cancer in 2026. You're going to feel the blessings of prosperity and health through discipline, and that's going to ripen and become more pronounced in your life. Okay, and that's all I've got for Aquarius. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe below. Also, if you want a consultation, do drop an email. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Share this video with your friends and family. Next up, we've got Pisces ascendants or Pisces moon sign. Pisces ascendants or Pisces moon sign. This transit is going to feel like a spark of inspiration, but also it is a test of whether you can nurture that spark into a lasting light. Jupiter is your Lagna Lord and also your 10th Lord. When such a powerful planet moves into the 5th house, the house of creative endeavors, children, education, romance, also intelligence, it's going to bring moments of brilliance during its transit. From October 17th to November 10th, 2025, Jupiter enters Cancer at 0 degrees. Cancer is no doubt exaltation sign for Jupiter, but also when it is at 0 degrees, Jupiter is unsettled. It's like a teacher just arriving at the classroom but not yet beginning the lesson. There's some kind of a hold up, there's some kind of a reservation happening right there. So in the same manner, it's like the teacher is trying to collect thoughts, right? So this is a time where you would feel a sudden rush of creative ideas. Romantic opportunities are now going to come your way. Your interest in studies or mantra is going to increase. But the deal with Jupiter in the 0 degree Cancer is that you're going to have a lot of energy and enthusiasm to pursue whatever it is that you're pursuing. It's like a child who discovered a new toy. He's just now experimenting with whatever he's got. So that's what we're looking at. There's a lot of excitement in the air without any restraint. You might start many things at once. You could now fall in love. You could now start a new project, get pulled into a foreign teaching or philosophy. You could start traveling now. All of that could happen, but the stability is quite missing when it is at 0 degrees. So you could now overestimate the opportunities that come your way. You could now be assuming a lot of growth too quickly, and that might not happen. And for those who are single, you may now fall in love, and that love might feel like destiny. But when it goes retrograde, you're going to see that this was not love, it's just infatuation. Financial speculation could be tempting because of Jupiter in the fifth house. But remember, Jupiter, 0 degree, is Gandanta, and any kind of investment made this time is very risky. Stay away from the stock market at least till the retrograde phase is over. And since Jupiter has not stabilized in exaltation, your discipline could now waver. But the good thing about this transit is that there's going to be a creative spark, and that might later mature into something significant, especially when Jupiter comes back next year in the sign of Cancer. You could also now meet important people or mentors in this window. They may not stay long, but their influence is going to linger. There's going to be new ideas about your children. There could be ideas about education. Then, from November 11th to December 4th, 2025, Jupiter turns retrograde in Cancer. So, this is the karmic checkpoint. You may revisit unfinished education. You could reconnect with old romantic ties or even re examine your relationship with your children. Retrograde Jupiter in the fifth, especially 0 degrees, is about over promising. It is about overindulging or chasing short term pleasures. But then, just as it moves towards the sign of Gemini, there could be themes of shifting to a bigger home or changing places, or all of that could crop up, and that may have a connection with your children. Maybe you want to look for a house that's near the school or college, and I'm just giving you an example. But what we're looking at is we're looking at a transit that gives your children an advantage by moving places. Journeys made during this time are gonna be very fruitful to your children as well as for you. There's so much they're gonna learn. Now Jupiter from the sign of Cancer is going to aspect your 11th house in the sign of Capricorn. That means it's gonna energize your network, it's gonna energize gains, your long-term ambitions. You're going to see a lot of prosperity come through your circle of friends. Wonderful time for Pisces people. Also, Jupiter is now going to aspect your own sign Pisces, which happens to be your first house. First house means there's going to be a lot of blessing coming to you, giving you charisma, giving you confidence, and also inspiration. But retrograde can bring some kind of an inner doubt, before you begin shining completely. Overall, I see this as a very short transit. So think of this short window as arrival energy. Don't expect maturity as of now, but honor the inspiration, keep notes, observe what excites you, and let Jupiter's wisdom slowly shape it in the weeks that follow. And in chart, October 17th to November 10th, 2025, expect fireworks at the gates. There's going to be a lot of creative surges, spiritual curiosity, academic openings. You could also be looking at newfound love, but know that the real throne sitting, the real blessings come once Jupiter moves past the 0 degree and starts ruling exalted in Cancer with full authority. And that's all I've got for Pisces. That's a wrap on all signs. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe below. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. Also share this video with your friends and family. And if you need a consultation, do drop an email. I will see you guys again with another new video very soon.